At Novell, we understand that data centers with mixed IT environments are a basic reality for most organizations. And we know that data centers are also evolving. IT's challenges are figuring out how to create an agile IT infrastructure, addressing power and space constraints, and delivering the performance, security, and availability the organization expects, all while trying to save as much money as possible. That's why realizing the benefits of a modern, service-driven data center calls for a three-pronged approach: build, manage, measure. With this approach, you can create a data center environment that adjusts and reacts to your changing business needs on demand, delivers the business services that your end users need, guarantees performance, and maximizes your IT infrastructure assets. Our job is to help you get there. In this presentation, we're going to talk about one aspect of this continuous cycle: building a service-driven data center. Of course, your service-driven data center has to start with the most reliable, interoperable, and best-performing platform possible. To evolve your data center, you need a strong foundation that is fully capable of running your mission-critical workloads, ubiquitous, and interoperable. What do these three core attributes of a service-driven data center look like in practical terms? First, your service-driven data center has to provide continuous access to core mission-critical business applications, systems, and data. That's really no different from traditional data centers, where the goal is always to deliver core business services securely, efficiently, and cost-effectively. Next, an ideal service-driven data center must allow you to use all the computing resources at your disposal. For example, it may make sense to run some applications on commodity x86 hardware. Others may need to run on mainframe, Itanium, or other architectures. You may want to virtualize some services while leaving others running on physical hardware. Some services are Java-based, others run on .NET. The ideal service-driven data center is flexible enough to support all these different assets. That's what we mean by ubiquitous. Finally, the ideal service-driven data center has to be interoperable, so it can support your whole heterogeneous IT environment. You simply can't afford to create incompatible IT silos that require different skill sets and different management tools. This type of service-driven data center, with its ability to deliver mission-critical services, support all your hardware resources, and allow all your resources to interoperate, translates directly into a more agile infrastructure that allows you to deliver the services your users need today and in the future. And of course, that agility also makes it possible to reduce cost, complexity, and risk. So how do you build this type of agile, service-driven environment? And how can Novell help? We'll explore some of the answers to these questions in a series of 2 videos. This video will explore each key attribute of a service-driven data center in more detail. Then, in part 2 of our discussion, I'll talk in more detail about how Novell can help you create this type of environment, with discussions on SUSE Linux Enterprise 11, SUSE Linux Enterprise Server, critical extensions to the SUSE Linux environment, and solutions for different form factors. So what are you looking for from your mission-critical computing platform? Your list of requirements probably starts with the basics: performance, reliability, efficiency, and dependable world-class support. But your platform also has to be able to deliver all those characteristics across a diverse range of different computing scenarios. And of course, it has to provide the mission-critical capabilities you need for the lowest possible cost of ownership. SUSE Linux Enterprise excels as a mission-critical computing platform because it meets all of these core requirements. First, it delivers an enterprise-class high-availability clustering solution for a fraction of the cost of proprietary alternatives. In fact, this high-availability cluster solution is so reliable that German air traffic control depends on it to run their core air traffic control systems. That means thousands of lives depend on its reliability every day. SUSE Linux Enterprise also offers a real-time operating system that has set world records for high performance with low latency. And finally, Novell is working with leading hardware vendors to provide complete solutions that are engineered for availability, scalability, and manageability. For example, HP and Novell are teaming up to provide complete high-availability solutions that include hardware, software, and world-class services. With a rich 20-year history of joint development, sales, and support, HP and Novell are in a great position to deliver Linux solutions you can rely on for your most important workloads, whether you choose HP ProLiant servers or Intel Itanium-based HP Integrity servers. Finally, Novell deserves consideration and respect when it comes to mission-critical computing because of SUSE Linux Enterprise's #1 position in SAP on Linux, mainframe Linux, and supercomputing. In fact, SAP recommends SUSE Linux Enterprise for customers who deploy SAP applications on Linux. When you put all these pieces together, it adds up to a fast, flexible, reliable, and highly scalable platform you can absolutely trust to run your mission-critical applications. When you look at your data center, you probably see an incredibly diverse mix of different systems and form factors. Basic x86 and high-end servers, racks and blades, physical and virtual machines, maybe even a few appliances, all running side by side to solve specific business problems. SUSE Linux Enterprise 11 is ready to support this type of diverse IT environment. It starts with a wide range of solutions for servers and clients that are all built on a common code base and managed using a common set of tools. Running a common operating system across such a diverse range of hardware can dramatically simplify the maintenance and management of your IT environment. Next, SUSE Linux Enterprise has been optimized to run on a number of different virtualization technologies, including VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V, and Xen. This makes it the perfect guest operating system for your virtualized workloads. Finally, SUSE Linux Enterprise includes an appliance-ready operating system and a set of tools that make it easy to create a wide range of purpose-built appliances. Of course, you don't have to deploy SUSE Linux everywhere right away to get results. You could start off by deploying a few new Linux workloads into your existing Windows environment. Or maybe it makes more sense to migrate a few of your older Unix workloads to Linux. The point is that it's totally your choice. SUSE Linux Enterprise gives you complete freedom and flexibility to deploy Linux whenever or wherever it makes the most sense for your business. And no matter how much your needs or systems change, SUSE Linux Enterprise will be able to support you every step of the way. That's what Linux ubiquity means to you. And that's the value it can offer your organization. Today, virtually every data center runs some mix of Windows, Linux, and other platforms. That's the simple reality of the world we live in. It also explains why Novell has made interoperability a core component of its company-wide mission. We understand that we have to help you squeeze the maximum value from your existing IT assets. At the same time, we're helping you incorporate new Linux capabilities into your environment. SUSE Linux Enterprise was designed specifically to interoperate with Windows, and we're working to make it easier than ever before to manage mixed Linux and Windows environments, on the server and on the desktop. Many of these interoperability efforts revolve around some important work we're doing directly with Microsoft. Since 2006, Microsoft and Novell have been working together in 6 key technical areas: cross-platform virtualization, systems management, identity and directory federation, Office document format capabilities, accessibility capabilities for the disabled, and something called Moonlight, which is an implementation of Microsoft Silverlight that runs on Linux. Microsoft is also providing a Linux management pack for Microsoft System Center, and we're working to improve interoperability between Novell Evolution and Microsoft Exchange. As a result of all the work we're doing together, Microsoft officially recommends SUSE Linux Enterprise for the customers who choose to run Linux. These are not just token efforts to make Windows and Linux work better together. In fact, Novell and Microsoft have established a fully functional joint interoperability lab, where engineers from both companies work side by side to develop the joint solutions I just talked about. This close collaboration ensures that you can manage SUSE Linux Enterprise and Microsoft Windows together as part of a single IT environment. Finally, SUSE Linux Enterprise leverages the capabilities of the Novell-sponsored open-source Mono project, which makes it possible to run ASP.NET Server applications on Linux. In fact, let's take a quick look at how that works.
In this short demo, we're going to be looking at the SUSE Linux Enterprise Mono extension. Nearly half of IT decision makers, developers and architects report that they use Microsoft.NET as their application technology platform on which to run their applications. Until now, the .NET framework has only been available on Windows. The ability to run ASP.NET and other .NET applications on Linux is now possible with SUSE Linux Enterprise Mono extension, a .NET application framework based on the open source Mono technology and powered by SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. One of the most common .NET application deployments is website publication using Microsoft Windows Visual Studio. While this deployment is typically performed on Microsoft Windows, developers can now do so on Linux while still working with Visual Studio. Let me introduce you to the demo environment for this demo. If we look at my computer, you'll see that from this Vista workstation we have a drive mapping, drive Z, which is going to our Mono server. This is a SUSE Linux Enterprise server with the Mono extension installed. That's important later on when we go to publish our project, so we'll return to that in a few moments. Also, if we run Internet Explorer, this is a very simple homepage, and this is pointing at our Mono server running over on the SUSE Linux Enterprise server. The Vista workstation is connected to the web server, which is running on Linux. The next part of the demo environment is we have Microsoft Visual Studio 2008, and if I open that up, I'm going to bring up our sample project. So this is a development project for a blog engine, as you can see, created natively in Visual Studio 2008, and it's going to be an ASP.NET application. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to click on our project over here, and then I'm going to hit the F5 key to build it locally. Now what this will do is this will demonstrate the kind of native building of an ASP.NET application. It's now been built in Visual Studio and deployed on the local machine. So looking at our Internet Explorer page now, this is the end result of our application, the blog engine running in the web browser. So that's how you do it in the Windows world, but what we want to do is we want to deploy that application in exactly the same way, only this time to an Apache web server running on SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. So let's go ahead and do that. First we need to close the Internet Explorer, and that will shut down the currently running build of the ASP.NET application locally. Then what we need to do is to publish this website to the Mono server. So I'm going to issue the command to publish the website, and at this point it's asking me for a target location where I want this application to be published to, and that's where the drive mapping I showed you earlier comes in. So we're just going to browse to that now. We'll scroll down the list and we'll go to our Mono server share. This is actually pointing to the htdocs directory on the Apache web server, so it's exactly the place where it ought to go, and we're going to call it blog engine. So I'm just going to type that name in now, and once we've got the name right, we're just going to click OK to go ahead and publish that. What you'll see now down the bottom here is Visual Studio's status bar will display building and publishing indicators. Once the process is complete, the status bar within Visual Studio will say Publish Succeeded. Okay, there we go. It's now finished. It says Build 2 succeeded and up to date with no errors. So it looks like that's published successfully. We'll go back to Internet Explorer on here, and this time, instead of looking at our home page, we'll go to monoserver/blog engine, and if everything's worked, we should then get the same ASP.NET blog engine application served up to us by SUSE Linux Enterprise Server with the Mono extension. And there you go, it comes up exactly the same way. As you can see, the ability to deploy ASP.NET applications on Linux in addition to Windows is a valuable capability for developers. SUSE Linux Enterprise Mono extension allows developers to easily port .NET-based applications from Windows to Linux without a major investment in rewriting code. This gives them more flexibility and choice than ever, and helps increase performance, scalability and productivity by leveraging existing .NET resources to run applications on the operating system and hardware of their choice.
It's easy to see how the Mono project can help you reduce costs and improve the productivity of your developers. And when you put all these pieces together, it's easy to see how Novell can help you use Linux to enhance your heterogeneous IT environment, eliminate incompatible IT silos, and create a more efficient and unified mixed data center environment. This concludes Part 1 of our Building a Service-Driven Data Center presentation. Be sure to watch Part 2 of this presentation next to learn about some of the specific innovations and capabilities in SUSE Linux Enterprise that enable the kind of agile, service-driven data center foundation we've been discussing. Then, check out the Manage and Measure presentations to learn about the other core components of your ideal service-driven data center. And finally, visit novell.com/Linux to access more detailed technical information, download a free evaluation copy of SUSE Linux Enterprise 11, or request a call from your Novell representative. Thank you.